my greasy hair, living with these broken hearts. It's cold in here, whoa, with my dirty coat and my funny leg, but I don't mind. The people pass me by, love, but they don't say hello. They don't know me.
Well, this has been said, especially by my friend Peter Lewis, that in all the stories I tell, I'm the hero. And that could be true. You know, like I told a story about how I got fired from a building site. And I was only there for about 2 days, and I upset the foreman so much that I wanted to actually hit him with a shovel over the head, give him a case of speeditis.
You've got to ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
So if you do see a bit of a tinge of hypocrisy in there about my hero status, well, just take it with a pinch of salt. But anyway, Brian, I hand out, Brian's a guitar player. He doesn't like it that I did flyers and an album cover of I'm an Aucklander with a picture of me playing guitar, because he's the guitar player, and I'm the focus on the cover, you see. And I thought, well, I am Eel. It's also a band, but I'm a solo entity, so I can carry on. So it's just a picture of me on the cover with the guitar. So I hand out these flyers to people. You know, we go to the pub on Saturday night, and there's a table full of hotties. And I've been a bit embarrassed because I'm a married man, and I don't want to be, you know, sort of using the ego rock and roll thing to, you know, pick up chicks or anything, because I'm married and I don't want to do that. You know, I love my wife. But anyway, I go at the table of hotties and I say, excuse me, ladies, I said, I've got this flyer and I'd like you to see if you wanted to come to this night on September the blah, 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 for a night with our original music. And these ladies are like, really? You play original? Oh, that's you? Oh, that's fantastic. Look at you. Oh, wow. And I said, listen, I don't like doing this thing. I said, I'm a bit shy. So I've got to go now. So I go outside, which leaves Brian, the guitar player, and Robbie, Bob the Builder, sitting at the table. And I leave suddenly, and I say, Robbie, come on, let's go. And I walk out. Of course, as I walk out, Brian immediately backstabs me, because these ladies turn around to their table because they know that I was at that table, and they go, do you know that guy? And Brian says, yeah. And she says, he said he was shy. Isn't that wonderful? You know, and he's so cute, that says the lady. And I thought, oh, and Brian's telling the story. And I said, oh, that's neat. And Brian says, yeah, he's shy. He hands out pictures of himself to strangers in a pub and makes out he's got no ego. And I said, gee, thanks, Brian. And then Robbie pipes up and goes, you know how he said he was leaving? Well, he's not leaving, because I drove him here, and he's going to have to wait until I go out the door. So if you go out the door and look out there, you'll see him waiting. So that I didn't want to see them to see me waiting outside, so I walked off with purpose towards the car, waiting for Robbie for about 5 minutes. He didn't turn up. And then one of them came out, probably looking for me. And I hid behind a pillar. Until Robbie eventually came out of it after about 15 minutes, the bastard. So, yeah, that's Brian for you. He says to me, oh, you know, our band's not that good, Al. And I says, Brian, I'm sick of your bullshit about the band, that, you know. And he says, I'm just razzing you, mate. I think it's good. I think, where are you coming from, Brian? I just don't know. So Brian is, he'll tell you that he was tortured for over 7 years in my little room out the back because he'd play what he thought I wanted, and I didn't want it. And I'd say, Brian, that's really good, but let's just do one take of what I want. So he'd never do what I wanted. All he had to do was copy what I wanted. I'd go, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. He used to play that, but no. He didn't want to do that. He didn't want to copy anything. He wanted to do something original. So he had to do a variation on it all the time. That often didn't work. And so it took 7 years to record something that I could have done in 3 weeks. Brian. Okay, that's a cut.